on site, on location here. Loving being inside of these beautiful Cafe Kubal studios Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can watch on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as facebook.com/wakeupcalldt and facebook.com/livenowdt, and listen on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, and of course on the wakeupcalldt.com home page. And we'd be more than happy to have you here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. After the shows go live, you can search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT, on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, Podbean, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and find shows like this one there. And of course, without further ado, it is my pleasure, my honor, and my privilege to welcome the man of every Wednesday hour from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, joining me for fantasy football over the years, my fantasy co-host, Mr. Mike Sofka of Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com, as well as the Winning Fantasy Football YouTube channel that is out there, and of course, our Facebook group, Winning Fantasy Football, where you can join us and talk about fantasy every day of the year, all day long. Mr. Sofka, welcome back to the broadcast.
Hey, thanks, Dan. How you doing?
Doing very well. Now, Mike, I got into it very sparingly. I just kind of made a note that it was crazy. But what are your best words to describe what we saw in Week 1 of the NFL, where we saw Green Bay almost get shut out when and remember, New Orleans was displaced. They didn't win that game in New Orleans. They won that game at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville because Shad Khan and the crew were nice enough to let them have the field for the day, as Jacksonville was at Houston, losing to the Texans. So we see Green Bay almost lay a goose egg, and Jameis Winston go off for 5 touchdowns, no interceptions on the day. Bunch of non-household name New Orleans Saints scoring, making it happen. Jacksonville, albeit Trevor Lawrence throwing 50, anytime a rookie's throwing 51 times, 99% of the time they're going to throw a pick. He threw 3, but he also had 3 touchdowns. But somehow Tyrod Taylor just exposed, everybody's focusing on Trevor. Tyrod Taylor exposed the fact that Jacksonville's defense had a bunch of holes in it. So there's that game. There is, Baltimore not having, they lose a running back, and then force overtime on the road at Vegas. Cleveland almost takes down the Chiefs, which they almost did last season. What was your take on Week 1 of the NFL, which I think very plainly I can call it a frenzy to kind of understate the first week of the NFL this season?
Well, there was some eye. I mean, the Eagles smoking the Falcons in Atlanta. I think the Eagles looked like a well-rounded team. Meanwhile, Atlanta couldn't make it out of their own house. They kept hitting the snooze button. Yeah, we'll be there. They never showed up. Same thing with the Packers. As you said, with the tribulations the Saints had to just have a game, having to find a place, and then the Packers just looked lethargic. I mean, they just no energy, no nothing. It didn't seem like anybody was ready to play on that team. I did like the Dolphins and the Patriots game, a 1-point game. Dolphins sneaking away with a 1-point game in New England. I was disappointed in the end of the Raiders and the Ravens game, which almost ended in overtime. The Raiders won, and I think it's a great way to open that stadium. The Steelers shocked me going into Buffalo and taking care of business. Let's see here. The Cardinals, I thought, had an easier time with the Titans than I thought they should have. The Colts barely put up a fight against the Seahawks when the Colts were at home. Washington losing their quarterback, losing Ryan Fitzpatrick, and still in a chance to win the game. The Jaguars, should have won that game. I don't understand how they could let them go up on them that early. It was not.
Mike, we lost you there for a second. What was your final note?
No, I was just saying, Week 1, woke me up, got my attention. I had certain expectations going into Week 1 as far as teams, and some of them let me down, and the rest of them woke me up. Like, wow, okay, I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah, and taking a look at this, I mean, we do our predictions every every week, and Mike and I gave our thoughts on who we thought would take this thing and each game. And I was happy to get out. I was happy to get out of it alive. Okay, I chose Tampa, but I was excited to watch Dallas, and I thought Dallas. I mean, to me, offensive pass interference. It seemed like a Brady call. That he got a nice one, but I had Tampa in that game. I had Philly. Now I had Philly over Atlanta, which I don't think was like the comfortable pick for most people. I think most people probably would have told me that was ballsy. I didn't think they'd win 32-6. I just thought they would win. But Devontae Smith, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, first touchdown of the season for the Philadelphia Eagles, Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts, playing, doing his thing. Kenneth Gainwell, yet another Memphis Tiger coming from the times of Mike Norvell. And what did he do? He scored as a rookie in his first ever game. So, love seeing that. Another upset, Pittsburgh-Buffalo. Pittsburgh blocked punt. How about this? This is not the type of history you want to make. But in upstate New York, Syracuse had a punt blocked by Rutgers, and Buffalo had a punt blocked by Pittsburgh on the same weekend. But Pittsburgh's was a little bit more of like a dagger because Syracuse didn't give up a touchdown after the fact, but Pittsburgh was able to score off of their blocked punt on the Buffalo Bills. So that's something to note here. I told you Cincinnati, Minnesota was going to be a close game. I believe I said it could go into overtime, and it did. It was the first game to go into overtime, 2 overtime games in week 1. So we've already passed that. If you were playing the bingo of the NFL this season and you had overtime on there, you could have marked it. So I had Cincinnati. San Fran was trouncing Detroit. And Detroit ended the game on a 23-3 run, which should make San Fran's defense feel not great. And I had Detroit. That was another ballsy pick. They lost that game. Mike had San Fran. I thought that Tennessee would show up against Arizona, but shout out to Chandler Jones, Union Endicott football. I just sat down with their current head coach and a couple of their players in Sunny and D with Sunny Spira at Progressive Dental down in Endwell, New York on 565 Hooper Road. And we literally just sat down with Union Endicott's football team. That is the alma mater of Chandler Jones. He turns around that weekend, has 5 sacks, and he went to Syracuse. So shout out to him. Seattle I had over Indianapolis. I wasn't worried about that. I had the Chargers. Mike had Washington in that. Carolina, hell hath no fury. Like, somebody scoring when a team screws them over. And Sam Darnold, Robbie Anderson, not only did they win 19-14 over the Jets, their former team, but they scored together. And the first touchdown pass of the season and the first touchdown pass ever by Sam Darnold as a Panther is to his former teammate, Robbie Anderson. The Jacksonville game, I did not think Houston was going to score almost 40 on them. And Tyrod Taylor, I respect, but I thought that they'd be able to handle him, and they didn't. Kansas City, close in this one with Cleveland. They were able to pull it out. Miami, so happy they won. I picked New England, but Miami somehow... Mike, when we look back at this Miami-New England game, you mentioned it. Did it not feel like it was Tom Brady? Bill Belichick in 2 minutes remaining, and he's got it to a 1-point game. You know what I mean? Like, this to me felt like the old Patriots. Did you get a sense of that?
No, not at all. I mean, Tom Brady's Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. There's no comparison.
I mean them being close. I mean the fact that Belichick loses Brady and he's still got a team down the wire close to somebody. I'm saying like the fact that Belichick can't be counted out is what I'm saying.
Well, Belichick's a great coach, and Mac Jones is a good quarterback. They had the battle of the Bama quarterbacks there, and Mac Jones had the better surrounding talent, better game plan, obvious, more effective, had a higher quarterback rating because of that. Didn't make Jones didn't have a pick.
Yeah, it was crazy to see. What was your final point there? You cut out again. What was?
I was just saying that it was the battle of the Bama quarterbacks. Mac Jones apparently had the better talent around him, the better game plan, and of course he had a higher quarterback rating. But the battle of the Bama quarterbacks came down to an interception. I think Tua had an interception and Mac Jones didn't.
Yeah, and so seeing this and seeing how everything shook out, I was happy to get out of this thing I picked Philly, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Detroit, Tennessee, Seattle, the Chargers, Carolina, Jacksonville, Kansas City, New England, Green Bay, Denver, Chicago, and then on Monday night I had Baltimore. I'm happy to get out of a crazy week at 500. My thing is 500 or better. I can't have a losing record. So that's how I look at it. I cannot have a losing record. And so 8-8 in the first week of the NFL. I'm proud of it. I'm happy with it. I'm rocking with it. I'm feeling good about it. And so that's where I sit at. And Mike and I had a little bit difference, like I said, in some of these games. So I ended 8-8, Mike, and share with everybody what was your week 1 record?
I don't know. I'm not living in the past. I'm looking for the new games coming up. I was sub 500. I'm sure. I don't write this shit down or not. Pardon my expression, but I don't. I think I was 5-11 looking back at it. So it's just. It doesn't really matter. It's in the past, and I play fantasy football. I don't prognosticate the whole schedule. So thank goodness for that.
Yeah. So like I said, I'm happy. 500 or better is what my goal is. All in good fun. And so able to get out of that. Let's jump into the first game that we have here on the docket. The Giants at the... It pisses me off every time I have to say it. Washington football team. Pick a name. I don't care. I don't care what you pick. Pick the... Okay, you know what? Why don't you take the name of Miss Lisa Hughes in our fantasy league? Why don't you take the Washington name change in progress? I don't care. Just do it. Do something. Do literally anything. It's just, what do they say in Grown Ups? When Adam Sandler comes outside and his son picks up the rock, he goes, just toss the rock. Throw the rock. Throw it at the water. Throw it at your sister. Do something with it. Do something, Washington, with your name. Giants at the football team on Thursday Night Football, Mike. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Taylor Heineke is going to get the start for the Washington football team. So, right there, I got a battle of the quarterbacks because I have Daniel Jones and Taylor Heineke ranked real close to each other. I have Daniel Jones at 22 and Taylor Heineke at 24. So you would think that would say a lot about Taylor Heineke, but it also says a lot about Daniel Jones if you think about it. Saquon Barkley, not a big week 1, slowly coming back, a lot slower than I thought. When they say he's ready, I'm expecting him to be ready. I wasn't expecting him to be kind of ready to just have his toe in the water. I think it let down Saquon fans tremendously. This week I got Saquon picking up the pace a little bit. It's going to be 2 games in a row and on a short turnaround for him. So that's going to be a thing. But I cautiously have him ranked at, while I have Antonio Gibson ranked at number 6 this week. Looking at the wide receivers, none of the wide receivers really impressed me outside of Terry McLaurin on either team. Last week, I got Terry McLaurin ranked 16 this week. And I have to go way down on the list. I have to go to 42 for Kenny Golladay. Then I have to go down a little further to 53 for Sterling Shepard. You're not making your money on these guys in the wide receiver room there. And looking at the tight ends, the only one I can really start is Logan Thomas, number 9 on my rankings this week. Evan Ingram or Kyle Rudolph are either going to make the game and or have an impact on the game. So I like Logan Thomas at number 9. I'm going to go with the Washington football team in this game. At home, the Giants didn't look good at all to me. Washington looked like they had a pulse at least, and I think they got a renewed sense of, hey, we all need to pull together when Fitzpatrick went down. I think they do believe in Taylor Heineke, so he's going to get the win at home.
Yeah, the Giants, I've talked to Giants fans, and they're not happy. And they're shaking their heads. They're wondering what's going on. With this Daniel Jones saga, how long are they going to hold on to it? Listen, I enjoy speaking with Daniel. I obviously spent some time with him when he was with Duke, and I am a big fan of David Cutcliffe, quarterback guru, who is somebody that has taught the minds of Super Bowl champions, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning. So I have a lot of respect for him. And Daniel playing for him, that opens my eyes and says, okay, well, if he's got this quarterback, let's see what he can do. But Daniel Jones just hasn't translated. It hasn't been working. The Giants are underwhelming. they're not exciting to watch. And I think that this is, put fans in a place where they're getting pretty much like Syracuse fans. They're lethargic. They're getting to a point where people are tired. They're tired of seeing the same old song and dance, my friend. And that is why I don't see a ton of value with the Giants. I wouldn't play Daniel Jones. If you have Daniel Jones as your starting quarterback, you must not be trying in fantasy. Saquon, I decided to keep him out there. I decided to keep him as my second running back in one of my leagues in week 1. And he was very underwhelming. He was a limited participant on Tuesday with knee issues. And so we could see this thing be a nagging. This could be a nagging part of what we're going to have to live with. 10 carries, 26 yards, 2.6 yards a carry, 1 reception for a yard, no touchdowns. This Saquon injury. Now CMC comes back and everybody's body's different. Adrian Peterson did it in 8 months. It's supposed to take a year, at least. He did it in 8 months. So Saquon, temper your expectations. He dips on my list. He's a lower end running back too, because he's playing Washington's defense too. Let's not forget about that. So, Sterling Shepard, a guy who I can't believe is still with the Giants, he was a bright spot, but I don't expect a ton. I really honestly wouldn't be playing any of these guys. Evan Ingram's banged up here. Kenny Galladay, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. If you're in a deep league and you have 4 wide receivers you're going to put out there, or 3, and it's a deep 12, 14, 16 team, you got to just grab somebody else, put them out there as a flex. But even that makes my stomach kind of queasy. Taylor Heineke, I'm not expecting a ton from him. I don't think he should be out there for you on fantasy this week. Antonio Gibson's worth the play as a running back too. Terry McLaurin, actually I would say Antonio Gibson low on 1, high on 2. Terry McLaurin is worth the play as well because he's playing the Giants. And Logan Thomas scored, and I picked him. I had him in one of my leagues, so I like him here. Eric Flowers, who the Giants drafted, mind you, he's going to be the starting left guard for Washington. He's been all over the country, including in Jacksonville for a short time. So I think McLaurin, Thomas, and Gibson are worth the play. Gibson, the best of the bunch, and nobody on the Giants. And I'm going to pick Washington at home because it's just, it does. It feels like Syracuse. It's going, what, are you going to do this again? This is what you're going to do again. You're going to put the same stuff out on the field expecting a different result. The definition of insanity. So I'm going with Washington. Cincinnati at Chicago, Mike. What do you got?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game to me because I think this is going to be a real road test for the Bengals and Joe Burrow. It's different when you're playing in your own backyard versus somebody else's backyard. You know where all the little divots, sweet spots are. But Joe Burrow's still on his way back from that knee injury. But I thought he did look pretty good last week. He looked so good. I got him as quarterback 12 this week. He's ranked number 12. And, well, on the Bears side, well, not so much. I really can't go that high with the Bears quarterback Andy Dalton. He's at 32. We're going to see some Justin Fields, I think, still. Looking at the running backs, though, this is where the money's made here, if there's money to be made. Joe Mixon, number 7 on my rankings here, and David Montgomery looked pretty good in week 1. He's 16 this week. I think he'll have a good showing. And looking at the wide receivers, Allen Robinson, he's the best wide receiver on the field. He's ranked number 11 this week. And looking at the wide receivers for Cincinnati, T. Higgins, 27 is where I have him ranked. Tyler Boyd, 33 is where I have him ranked. Jamar Chase, a little bit higher than both those guys, 22. So you definitely have more value on the side of the Bengals. Tight ends are really, I'm not excited about any tight end on the field here for either team. Maybe a Cole Kmet at 16 for Chicago. And looking at the game itself, I think Cincinnati's going to have a pretty good game. But it's hard for me to go against the home team in Chicago. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go with Cincinnati and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Chicago, I mean, listen, they did not. I'm happy, again, I'm really happy that Justin Fields played in his first ever opportunity that he could. He can say he played in the first game that he was available for as a rookie. He played and he scored and was able to run in that touchdown. I love it. I think it's great. And at the same time, I'm not expecting much out of Chicago as of right now. So, and a good morning to Alan. So, not expecting much out of Chi-Town by any stretch of the imagination. And I know some of you had asked some questions last week, and we were not completely, for whatever reason, we weren't able to get to them when I went back into the archive to answer those questions. So, if for some reason we didn't get to your question that you asked us here, I apologize for that last week, but we're happy to answer them now, and I'm actually going to answer them as we go here to make sure that we get to all of these, because I want to make sure we answer questions. We had a bunch of questions come in last week on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt for Mike and I, and for some reason they did not pop up after the show, and so we weren't able to answer them for you, so I'm going to answer them instantaneously to make sure we don't miss a single question here, and we're going to answer some of them right now, so I'm going to ask for Mike's help in this, but we do have a question that just came up, so before I give my analysis of Chicago and Cincinnati, let's answer this question that came in here, and let's see what we got. So the question that we have first is coming from, all right, so we have a CN said, do I drop Russell Gage for Jalen Reagor or Devontae Parker? I also dropped Terrence Marshall for Tyler Boyd. Good move. Mike, your thoughts first, and then I'll go.
Yeah, I'd go back and pick up Terrace Marshall again and drop Russell Gage. That's a bad move. You want Terrace Marshall, and you know Russell Gage. I tend to have more patience. I wouldn't pick up those other guys if you're itching to drop somebody and pick them up, because that's what we do in overreaction week one. Overreaction Monday. The world's on fire. Cats and dogs are living together. Everything's crazy. Watch your waiver wire in your league. You're going to have people that are going to pull the trigger too quick. You're going to have people give up on people. You may be able to steal a top player like a Saquon or Elliott through a trade at this time. Owners are impatient. Everybody's impatient. It's been 1 week. There's been 1 week of football. We got 16 more games for each team. 17 more weeks of this. And you're going to take your entire year of preparation and listening to us and throw it out the window over one game. You can't do that. You can't do that. You got to have patience here. If you haven't followed us, if you haven't followed my drafting system, you're going to be doing this. Be patient. Be patient. That's the key to week one. And take advantage of everybody else's mistake. But if you're really itching to make that move, drop Gage and go back and pick up Terrace Marshall, but you'll probably have to wait for him to clear waivers now that you've already dropped them.
Yeah, you know, and I agree, you know, and we just wrote back to CN, so thank you here for writing in to us on YouTube. You can write to us on Facebook. This is why you watch the show live, so instantaneously we can answer your questions, and so make sure that you do that. YouTube.com/wakeupcalldt, Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt as well. When the questions come in, we're answering them here on YouTube and on Facebook. And so CN again said, do I drop Russell Gage for Jalen Reagor or Devontae Parker? That's a no. And then I also dropped Terrence Marshall for Tyler Boyd. Good move. Jamar Chase, again, like Mike said, week one. T. Higgins has a great relationship with Joe Burrow. They were doing great. I want to say they're doing good. Let's not say great. They were doing well in his rookie season, Joe Burrow and T. Higgins' rookie season. You got LSU and Clemson on the same team, throwing to you know, that's a great, I mean, that's like a perfect dynasty beauty team there when an LSU quarterback's throwing to a Clemson wide receiver and bringing that all together. That only happens in dreams, maybe mine, hopefully yours. So, T is there, number one. Two, Jamar Chase is there. And again, another rookie scoring in their opening game, first ever opportunity in the NFL. he knows Chase. Speaking of Joe Burrow, they were teammates, and T. Higgins and him have a good relationship. Tyler Boyd, at best, is going to fall to 3. So Russell Gage is not a bad guy. He's a guy that I told you to put on that list, right? Put on that list and keep it there. But Terrace Marshall, you don't know what he's going to be yet. It's week 1. Go back and try and get him again. And if it was me, I would drop Boyd and pick up Gage. Or I would say keep Gage. So I would keep Gage, get rid of it. Honestly, if it was, I would say keep Terrace Marshall, don't take Tyler Boyd at all. And I would find a way to, have Gage there too, because I'm not a fan of Devontae Parker.
Yeah, I need to jump in there because what you're doing is just because Boyd is third man on the totem pole there, you're disqualifying him. I got Tyler Boyd ranked 33 this week. There's 32 teams. That means he's 1A on somebody's team, but he can't be 1A on his own team. He's actually 1C because I've got T. Higgins ranked at 27, and I got Jamar Chase ranked at 22. So why would I cut the guy who's 33 on my ranking? Didn't do it. There's no way. No way you cut Tyler Boyd.
Well, I disagree. That's my thought. That's why Mike and I are here. So what Mike and I can agree on is you shouldn't have dropped Terrace Marshall. What we don't agree on is I would rather have Gage than Boyd. But that's my thoughts. I'm not a fan of Devontae Parker. If you want somebody who's going to piss you off every week, I guess get him. But if you want to win fantasy football, don't. So Chicago and Cincinnati is where we're sitting at now. As the questions come in, we're happy to answer them on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt as well. Our live feeds here. Cincinnati at Chicago. Mike chose Cincinnati. I'm also choosing Cincinnati. Funny because we were just talking about Cincinnati. So injury-wise here, of any note, really nothing on Cincinnati. Chicago, nothing either that you have to be too concerned about. I mean, those of you that know, Tariq Cohen's supposed to be coming back in week 7, and he's coming from an ACL, physically unable to perform list, the PUP list he's on right now. But besides that, I'm going with the road team as well. I think Cincinnati's got a lot of firepower, and Chicago doesn't offensively. I think Justin Fields is going to make them. He's going to be like a multiple. He's going to be a Swiss Army little weapon because he's going to run and he's going to pass. Like he's going to be able to make their offense have different wrinkles in it when he eventually is the guy. But right now, the offense kind of sputtering a little bit. It's not that I'm not a fan of some of the guys and that they can't score. I mean, for goodness sakes, Allen Robinson scored with 3 different quarterbacks last year. But Cincinnati has more firepower. Joe Burrow worth the play in this game against Chicago. Their defense does not scare me. I would have him not necessarily. I mean, he's not going to be above a lot of the guys we talk about, but I like Joe Burrow in this game. I still think he's a QB1. Joe Mixon, running back 1. T. Higgins, wide receiver 1. Jamar Chase, I would say I'd still have him in a flex situation, but I like him. And on the other side of it for Chicago, David Montgomery did get into the end zone. He's a lower end running back 2, higher end 3 in my opinion. And Allen Robinson, how can you not play him? I think he's a wide receiver 2 this week. And Darnell Mooney, if you're deep and you got to play a flex, then maybe he goes out there for you. In my opinion right now, if your team was drafted correctly and you made the right moves, he should be your last option at wide receiver right now on your team if you got 4 or 5 guys. And I don't think it's the right time to put him out there. Cole Kmet, not bad. He did get into the end zone, so he's not a bad bet for you. I still consider him a tight end 2, and that's where I have it. I think this week, though, he might have some tight end 1 numbers. I got a good feeling about Cole Kmet, so that's where I would take it. And again, I'm going with Cincinnati. Next game we have up here, Mr. Sofka, will put us Houston at Cleveland. Cleveland almost took down the Chiefs. Houston looked really good with Tyrod Taylor. What do you got?
Yeah, Cleveland almost took down the Chiefs. Texans looked really good against the Jags. That means what? That means the Texans are going to smoke Cleveland in Cleveland. Cleveland's a 12.5-point favorite in this. It's hard to go against that because of some of the weapons they have. Looking at quarterback, I got Baker Mayfield ranked number 17 this week. I got Rod Taylor, who single-handedly, I think, won that game against Jacksonville. I don't know how they won it. They didn't get a lot of wide receiver production. They didn't get a lot of running back production. What they got was Jacksonville making a mistake and Trevor Lawrence's 3 interceptions, and they just capitalized on those mistakes. So looking over at running back, the situation's even more dire. The separation's even greater. I got Nick Chubb at number 9. I got Kareem Hunt at 23. And I have to go down to like 40 to get Mark Ingram at 58 years old, running back. He led Houston in touches. How can that be? They got a stable for it. I got Philip Lindsay. I got David Johnson. I don't know what's going on in a Houston backfield, but they're not going to win very many games that way. And looking at receivers, same thing. I can't rank a wide receiver top Houston. Cleveland, I got Jarvis Landry. A lot of air power in this game, and Odell Beckham at 57. They got to show me something before they can climb up on these rankings, and right now I'm just not that confident. I think it's going to be a true run game. I think they're going to control the ball. Cleveland's got a pretty good defense. If you hadn't noticed, they can pressure the quarterback, and that's what kept them in that game last week. I got Austin Hooper at 19 as far as the tight ends. I can't start any other tight end in this game. And like I said, you know, the football gods are going to dictate that Texans going to walk in and blow out the Browns, but I have a feeling the Browns are going to win this game straight up.
Yeah, I got the Browns in this one as well. Mike, we got a question coming in here on youtube.com /wakeupcalldt. Should this, Rendon wrote in here, should he trade Tyler Boyd for Brandon Ayuk?
That's an interesting question because Brandon Ayuk's supposedly in the doghouse. Trent Sherfield got the nod over him, and he did show up. A lot of people don't even know who that guy is. First time you're hearing his name is when I mentioned it. You know, Brandon Ayuk has all the talent in the world. He did have the opportunity to show that last year. I don't know what the rest of your lineup is. That would depend on that. If you're looking for similar production, I say, yeah, they're going to be similar in production. If you're looking for this guy's going to win the championship for me single-handedly because I don't really have any other good wide receivers, stick with what you got, you know, without knowing more information. You know, otherwise they're about the same, so it seems like a fair trade.
Yeah, I would imagine that Brandon Ayuk has more of an upside right now, and so that would be how I would look at it is longer term, I'd be saying, okay, maybe Brandon can pay off more than Tyler. But like you said, like Mike talked about in the doghouse, you know, it's what happens here. I can't imagine that he'll be off for a long time and that this is a guy that's going to be a forgotten man in San Francisco because of the fact that, you know, they did go out and draft him. He is a young wide receiver, and we know that he's talented. So I can't see that this is going to be too much of an ongoing issue, a forever thing. So I like it. If you traded for Brandon Ayuk, I'd be okay with that. So I'm okay with that trade as well. Thank you for the question, Rendon. And if you have questions, facebook.com /wakeupcalldt, right into the live feed. You can also write into the live audio feed, mixlr.com /wakeupcalldt. And of course, youtube.com /wakeupcalldt. So make sure you write in there for us as well so we can answer your questions as we go. Houston at Cleveland. I'm going with Cleveland in this one too. If Cleveland's pushing Kansas City to the brink at Arrowhead on the road, then that's telling me something about Cleveland. Now, Cleveland's an up and down team, but I feel like they're more up than down. I do. I think in the last season and I think this season we're going to see more up than down for Cleveland. I think in other times they really frustrate the heck out of you. You know, Mike and I would pick them to be good 2 years in a row, and they just didn't. I mean, they had it on paper and they didn't come through. And then last year they started to look a little bit better, but I'm like, how can I say great things about them knowing what they've done to us these last couple of years? And, you know, I mean, so I think Cleveland has what it takes to be better than not better. You know, I don't think that they're the roller coaster like they used to be, and I feel good about them in this game. Tyrod Taylor, if you play two quarterbacks in your league, then I would say, you know, he could potentially be worth the play. I would probably leave him off of this. Again, it's 1 week. He was playing Jacksonville and their Swiss cheese defense. That defense looked atrocious. So I'm not a big fan of that. I mean, he broke off and ran toward the end of the game, and it was just embarrassing. Ingram, Lindsey, and Johnson, it's hard to pick here because they're all former starters. But Mark Ingram, if I had to pick anybody, I'd put him out there as maybe a running back 3 for you this week. You should have people above him that should be your 1s and 2s. Cooks, I would put him at a lower end. I would probably put him at a wide receiver 3, to be completely honest. And then Cleveland's side, I like Baker in the game. I do. And so I'd have him as a lower-end quarterback 1. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I shouldn't have to tell you, but I'll tell you, play them. Jarvis Landry looks like he might be involved in some trick plays and in throwing the ball and in kind of like Wildcat pieces, so I think he's a wide receiver 2. I'm not a fan of Odell Beckham, and he didn't do anything of note. So, and he's not 100%. So I would probably stay away from that situation. He's questionable coming off the knee ACL, like Saquon. So I like Jarvis Landry in this game, and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. I mean, they are the best 1-2 punch at running back in the NFL right now because they both, when it comes to fantasy, because they both eat. And, it's hard to keep both guys fed when you have a fantasy football backfield with 2 different players that are trying to be starters. But it works there, and I like it. Rams at Indianapolis, Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, I like the Rams. I mean, what a difference the quarterback makes. Matt Stafford makes all the difference in the world. Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, was able to get numbers for some of his guys like Darrell Henderson and Cooper. Looking at the matchup here, I do have Matt Stafford better, obviously, than Carson Wentz. I have Matt Stafford at 11. I got to go way down to 29 to find Carson Wentz, so I'm going to try not to start him. Looking at the running backs, Darrell Henderson, I have him at 10 this week. Looking at where I have an Indy runner is 10, Darrell Henderson. Jonathan Taylor for Indy, 2 behind him at 12. And Naeem Hines, you could probably put him in a flex at 32. He's a great PR. At a backfield. Looking at the receivers, it seems like they're all one side of the ball. It seems like they're all for the Rams. 13, I got Cooper Kupp. I go down a little further on the list for some of the other. I got to go way down on the list, as a matter of fact, here. I got to go Van Jefferson at 61. And I'm trying to search out Robert Woods on my list here. I got him at 18. Looking at the other side of the field, though, Michael Pittman maybe until in the 50s. Same thing. I know Zach Pascal blew up a little bit last week. You can't count on it every week. He's in the 60s for us. And looking at the tight end position, Tyler Higbee is going to be the guy for the Rams. I got him ranked number 6, and I don't have a tight end for Indianapolis on yet. There's one on the way. Trust me, there's one on the way. But that rookie's not gonna be up to game speed to make the rankings. If you went with a Mo Alley-Cox or Jack Doyle, they would be in the high 30s. So I would advise against that. I definitely would take the Rams.
So Mike going with the Rams here and trying to make sure we can pull Mike here. Clearly we're coming in and out, but we heard most of that. So Mike's going with the Rams on this one, and this matchup, just to make any notes here on injuries and whatnot, we'll make those as we go. But for this matchup, for me, Rams in Indianapolis, again, Indy is at home. It doesn't matter. So to me, Indy, I'm happy that Carson Wentz was out there for week 1. I thought it was a ghost because when he got injured and he was like, he had been in Indy for like 5 seconds and he got hurt. And Indy fans are sitting there like Philly fans used to sit there like, are you serious right now? And then I thought, is this guy going to play this year? Is he going to play? Definitely won't be out there week 1 and whatnot. And then here he is rolling out there. So I'm happy to see that, if nothing else. But as far as fantasy goes, I'm liking Matt Stafford in this game. I'm liking Darrell Henderson, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp. They both ate with their new quarterback, Matt Stafford. Was able to find them both, making fantasy fans happy. Van Jefferson got involved in as well. The first touchdown pass thrown by Matt Stafford as a Ram was to Van. So Vans, they make her dance. And so I like I like this one. I like Higbee too in this matchup as well. I like a lot of Rams. I said this could be the most weapons that Matty Stafford has had, throughout on a team. Yeah, he had Megatron, but I'm talking about all the way around, just the many places, the 5 places he can go, arguably. So I think Matt might have his best season this season. On the other side of it, Jonathan Taylor's worth the play. Michael Pittman's a wide receiver 3. Zach Pascal, that boy stepped up and went to work. So 2 touchdowns here. Again, it's 1 week, and they weren't playing the Rams. So Pascal, I would say, is a flex guy, wide receiver 4. Hines is running back 3. Really, Jonathan Taylor's the only one I feel good about. The majority of it's on the Rams side, and that's who I'm picking to win the game. So fantasy and reality makes sense there. Before we take our first step aside, Mike, inside of the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub, I want to get to one more game, but Rendon responded to us and gave us his team. So I want to tell you this. He said that he originally said, would you trade Tyler Boyd for Brandon Ayuk? Then he said 10-team PPR Superflex. My team is Christian McCaffrey, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, DeAndre Swift, Robert Woods, Deontay Johnson, George Kittle, Tyler Boyd. And then on his bench, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Jamar Chase, Jerry Jeudy, Chase Edmonds, Tua, Will Fuller, and Marvin Jones.
Yeah, take that Chase off your bench and put him in your lineup. What were the top wide receivers you gave? What was the starters?
His starters, Robert Woods, Deontay Johnson, Tyler Boyd.
Chase in there above Tyler Boyd. I may even put him there above Deontay Johnson, but I would definitely put him in there above Tyler Boyd. You got, not the Tyler. I would keep Tyler Boyd. I really would. I wouldn't go looking for trouble on a team that started out with trouble. I don't know if I'd pursue that. If it was gifted to me, I might consider it. But you have Jamar Chase burning a hole in your bench. Put him in the lineup. He's the best receiver on that team.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this, I like this team, first and foremost. I mean, Kyler Murray and Josh Allen, I don't know how, it's 10-team PPR. I don't know how you got them both, because somebody should have saw that coming. But Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, it seems like you're a Denver fan, I think would be fair to say, potentially. You have Jeudy, Javonte, and Melvin Gordon, and so that's what I'm seeing from here. But I like Marvin Jones. I like that pick. If he's your worst receiver, you're in good footing. I still would make the move for to get rid of Boyd and get Ayuk. If the situation now, my only thing holding me back is that in week 1 there was an issue to start things off. So is this a telltale sign of what the season's going to be like? That's my only concern, and I know it's a big concern. But if it was straight up talent, if it was straight up who do you think is going to be better for you in the long run, I'd go get Brandon Ayuk over Tyler Boyd. That's what I would do. But knowing the situation in San Francisco and knowing that things didn't start off on the right foot with Brandon Ayuk and the Niners, that's my only concern. So I would make the move straight up, if not for the drama. So you got to kind of take a chance. And, do you think the drama's going to... it's a gut feeling. Is the drama over or is it not? So, that's the situation. But I do like this team. And, Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, you got the handcuff there. And then... yeah, and he just said, yep, go Denver. I like Brandon because his upside. Tyler's the worst wide receiver on my team and the last person I would start as of right now. So, you're in a good situation because whether you have Boyd or Ayuk, you're looking at the fact that these are not your best receivers. You have a team that you drafted well, so you're in good footing and you're in good shape. So either way, are you completely losing? Well, if one of the guys goes off, yes. But, ultimately, it's up to you. This is a guy who's going to be on your bench right now, and that's the position. Like I said, straight up talent, Brandon for me. Tyler Boyd right now is the better option because of Brandon's situation, but just look at it and watch it. Jay wrote into us, do I start Mark Andrews? He never has good games against Kansas City. And so that's the question that came up here as we got a big-time Sunday night game, Kansas City-Baltimore. Mike and I are going to get to that game, but we've been asked this question here right now in the moment, and I want to be as instantaneous as we can. So, Mark Andrews, yes or no?
Yeah, I got him ranked number 5 this week as far as tight ends go. Look, there's certain guys you're going to play every week. Are they going to be number 1 every week? Not at all. It's math. It's a law of averages. It's matchups as well. But you got to look at certain guys that are going to be the mainstay in that offense. And in that offense, the one target that's always steady Eddie is Mark Andrews. So, yeah, I'm totally confident in Mark Andrews. I had him number 5 this week.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, and I just wrote in to Jay, I would definitely play Mark Andrews. Again.
What's the alternative?
Right. Well, and that's the thing, too. I mean, Jay, who's your backup? So, and like Mike alluded to here, he's one of those guys that you play. I mean, it's like set it and forget it type of thing. I mean, there's certain guys you put out there. If you got Mark Andrews, then, outside of the bye week or, gosh forbid, an injury, you play, that's who you play. So his backup's Jared Cook.
Yeah, we definitely play Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, top 5 going into this year, into drafts, top 5, and top 5 this week. He's number 5. So the only guys I have ranked ahead of him this week and in drafts was Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, George Kittle, T.J. Hawkinson, then Mark Andrews. Now, there's a little bit of drop-off depending on where Kyle Pitts decides to land himself. It's a little bit of a drop-off after that. If you were to tell me, Mike, I have Tyler Higbee. Mike, I have Noah Fant. I have Dallas Goedert. I have Jonnu Smith. Now we're asking questions. A guy like Mark Andrews, you plug and play.
Yeah, I think that's yes. Yes on yes on yes. So play Mark Andrews. Just updating here on YouTube so that you guys all have it. Mike and I went Washington over the Giants, Bengals over the Bears for both of us here, and we also went Cleveland. We've gone complete, so we're gonna get to Buffalo, Miami in a second. But Mike and I have the same picks this week, so as of right now. And last week we had a few different ones, but Washington over the Giants, Bengals over the Bears, Browns over the Texans, and Rams over the Colts. And I just gave you my thoughts, and so on fantasy-wise. So we're going to jump into the next game, Mike. Buffalo at Miami. What do you got?
Yeah, well, this one screams quarterback. I mean, Tua, looked like he had a pretty good, solid performance last week. Josh Allen, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. But last week, I think he threw the ball too many times. You can't throw the ball 50 times in a game and expect to win. If you're throwing 50 times, you're probably losing the game, and you probably need some heroics to come back, like Derek Carr did on Monday night. Josh Allen, he's going to be okay though. He threw for 270 last week, but again, that was a victim of throwing the ball that many times. And I'm interested to find out why Zach Moss wasn't active last week. That was a shocker as well. So going into this game, knowing what we know from last week, I got Josh Allen number 2 because I don't think Miami's defense is going to be able to slow him down in that offense. And, I flipped the script. I go on the other side of the ball. 2 is ranked respectively here. 13. He wasn't ranked that high last week. He is a little bit higher this week. 13 on the rankings for me. And then going over to the running backs, Devin Singletary is the best running back on the field. And if Zach Moss was benched last week, that means there's something else going on. Maybe he's going to be eased back in. Maybe he's questionable about an injury. They decided it's best to hold off another week. I don't know. You sometimes don't know the truth or the whole truth, and sometimes we don't know any of the truth. Sometimes they put up smoke screens. Ask Bill Belichick, who got fined one year for not putting enough guys and not reporting injuries. So the following week, all 53 guys were on the injured report. So, I mean, it is what it is. They're going to tell us what they want us to know. Devin Singletary, number 1 running back this week, number 1 running back on the field. Myles Gaskin, number 25 on the rankings. I'm not going anywhere else in the running back fields for either team. And looking at the wide receiver, Stephon Diggs, the best wide receiver on the field in this game, number 3. I'm going to go down, but I'm hard-pressed to find a first Miami guy on my rankings is Will Fuller, who hasn't played a game yet. He was suspended last week. He's 32 on my rankings. And then going down a little further, I got Devontae Parker in the 40s, Jalen Waddle in the 50s, Cole Beasley in the 50s. So the real value is Stephon Diggs, but if he's on your team, I don't need to tell you that. And looking at the tight end position. I just really don't see a tight end. Maybe a Mike Gesicki at 17, but nothing else really excites me. Dawson Knox at 33. So I'm going to go with the sheer talent at running back and quarterback and wide receiver. They got the big three, kind of like you need the big three in basketball. I got to go with the Bills.
Yeah, the Bills definitely looked ugly in their first game of the season. I mean, I was out at Pizza Man in Baldwinsville on 50 Oswego Street. Great place to watch the games, and they got the NFL tickets, so you're going to see every game there. The fans were not pleased with what they saw on the field. And they're going in to play a Miami team that's got literally nothing to lose. I mean, they're coming off a win over the Patriots. They're doing what they needed to do, and now they got a shot to go 2-0 on the season. And Buffalo going 0-2, fans will start freaking out. So I mean, this is a big. I think Miami can play more fluid, and Buffalo's got to play a little bit. They may play a little more tense. So this is a situation that is not desirable for Buffalo, how they started off the season against Pittsburgh. I think Miami's going to give them some hell. My guy Trill Williams is there, played DB for Syracuse, was undrafted, picked up by the Saints, and eventually moved over to the Miami Dolphins. So a lot of love for Trill, playing corner. And he's been a rover, he's been all over the defense in Syracuse, where they play 3-3-5 and rely heavily on the back line. So much love to Trill, and I hope you have a fantastic year, and I hope things only get better. And he's doing more than I thought. I thought he needed a little more time in college, and so I'm happy to see he made a 53-man roster, and God willing, he'll get out there and do some good things. He's got a shot against Josh Allen if and when he does get out there in this game. So I like Josh Allen in the matchup. Matt Breida has been moved to number 2, folks, and Devin Singletary number 1 here. Devin Singletary, to me, he had 80 yards in the loss, so I'm going to put Singletary as a running back 2. Josh Allen as a 1. With Zach Moss moving further down the depth chart, it's better for Singletary, just for you fantasy owners. So in some leagues where you didn't draft either one of them, you need to get him like 5 minutes ago. And for those of you that have him, I think he's trending upward. I think this is a good week for him. So Josh Allen, Devin Singletary, obviously Stephon Diggs. I don't know why Gabriel Davis is on the depth chart as number 4. It's some of the things I'm looking at here. The man scored a touchdown in this game. I believe he's the true number 2. So I like him here. Emmanuel Sanders was 3rd in targets. So Cole Beasley, good for PPR, good for flex. Gabriel Davis, worth the play. Stephon Diggs, worth the play. Dawson Knox got involved, but that's 1 week, and I'm still not. I got to see consistency, so I wouldn't put him out there yet. Tua in this matchup, I would say, Tua's a quarterback 2 in this one for me. Myles Gaskin is a running back 3. I'm not a fan of Devontae Parker. Jalen Waddle scored in his first game. I got him as a low-end 2, high-end 3 wide receiver, and Will Fuller as a wide receiver 2. Mike Gesicki is a low-end tight end 1, high-end tight end 2. So a lot of guys to play in this one. And Buffalo, don't make me wrong twice. I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills. With that being said, Mike and I are going to take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, plenty more as we get you set for Week 2 of the NFL right after this. Inside the Cafe Kubal Studios, this is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and this is your Fantasy Football Power Hour. Not one of, not a, but the Fantasy Football Power Hour, getting you ready for Thursday, Sunday, and Monday games, and sometimes Saturday games in the NFL early as we do it on Wednesday, so you got plenty of time to set your lineup and plenty of time to ask questions on Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. Join us for free on any one of those avenues, any one of those sites. You can join us for free, and you can write into the show instantaneously. And as you've seen this morning, we answer your questions. So make sure you make your way out to each of those today, and thank you so much for listening and watching. This is Wake Up Call. We'll be back after this fast break.
Cafe Kubal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafekubal.com. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Here at Progressive Dental, we understand the importance of regular dental visits and preventive care. Cleanings and checkups are essential to good oral health. We have multiple locations in the Southern Tier, so come visit us in Binghamton, Enwell, Kirkwood, Montrose, and Norwich. For self-paying non-insured patients, we offer the Smile Plan, which covers all of your cleanings, x-rays, and exams for an affordable yearly price. Call 607-754-2273 or 607-754-CARE to make an appointment today. For more information, visit our website at progressivedentalny.com.
The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way over to the Millhouse Market today and all throughout the week. Open in their normal business hours, Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can make your way out to the Millhouse Market. So make your way out there today, and much appreciation to the Millhouse Market for everything they do for the community and for businesses within the community outside of themselves, constantly paying it forward. And you can see that in their general store as they have local honeys and soaps and syrups and whatnot from companies all around central and upstate New York. So make sure you make it out to the general store, the indoor dining, and the drive-through pickup window where you can literally order your food on the app or by calling and drive in, grab your food, and go. Don't even have to leave the car. You can contactless pay right on the app as well. So Millhouse Market, head out there today for their homemade breads, desserts, quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, brick oven pizzas, and the sandwiches named after the families to help to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our taste buds and ingrained in our community, the Millhouse Market is worth the drive every time. We'll see you out there. With that being said, back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, Mike, we got another question that came in here, and the question is, so let's jump to this question here. Should they start Mike Evans or Leonard Fournette in their flex spot? They got two guys on Tampa. Which one should be their flex guy?
Geez, I'm flying blind here because I had a computer catastrophe here. My rankings, my computer went down. I'm rebooting, but okay. I'm going to still answer this question here. I'd have to go with, is it a PPR league, or do we know?
We don't know. So if you can tell us here, if Ray or Jay here, if you can let us know if it's PPR, that would be awesome. Mike Evans or Leonard Fournette. Mike, go ahead.
If it's not PPR, I would lean Fournette. If it is PPR, I would lean Evans because Ronald Jones is dinged up right now, so that bodes well for Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, it is a PPR. He said it is PPR.
Yeah, I would lean Mike Evans.
Yeah,
Just because I think, with that extra point, if he gets 10 targets, he gets 6 catches. I mean, that's 6 points right there. Then he's going to put up probably at least 60 yards and a touchdown if he gets 6 catches. So, yeah, I think that's the way to go, Mike Evans. I got Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is ranked 20 on my rankings this week, and I'm trying to think on where I had Leonard Fournette. I think it was a little bit lower, but I always do all my rankings based on, here I'm able to pull back up. Leonard Fournette, 29. So I do all my rankings on PPR because that's what most everybody plays.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Mike Evans as well because you have the PPR wrinkle. I know he had some gaffes, and he definitely missed 2 catches when he must have thought the guy was going to intercept it because he's kind of looking at the ball and he's looking at the guy, and he didn't really full on. It didn't look like he was attempting to 100% catch those balls like you thought they were going to get picked this past week on Thursday night against Dallas. So, but I do like Mike Evans, and I think he'll bounce back. So Jay, Mike, and I both going with Mike Evans on this one. Trey wrote in and said, should I flex Henderson in a full PPR if I'm starting Robert Woods? Other options are Gaskin, Galladay, Juju, and Elijah. Should I flex Henderson in a full PPR if I'm already starting Woods? Other options are Gaskin, Galladay, Juju, and Elijah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it does matter who else you have on your roster, but it doesn't matter to the NFL. I mean, they don't care. They don't care if you were number one all your life in Pop Warner, college, and then you get here, you're just another guy. It's a plug and play. It's next man up. Now, there are guys that transcend that. There's the GOATs, there's Tom Brady, but it comes down to like a Mark Andrews type issue like we talked about before. There's certain guys you're just going to start, and I got Henderson in the 20s, I believe, on my rankings. So I mean, why would you take that out? Why would you juggle that? I think actually, Kurt, check that. I got Darrell Henderson ranked number 12 this week as far as running back. So I think Matt Stafford's got that ranked. I think they're going to chug along, and I don't think they're going to make too many missteps with Stafford there at the helm. So any of those guys that you have, start them. Don't be afraid to start too many guys from one team.
Yeah, and as Mike and I just said before the break, I mean, we gave you the guys you should play, and I said Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Darrell Henderson, and Tyler Higbee. They're all Rams. So, there's nothing wrong with starting a couple guys. And in the Rams' case with Kupp and Woods and Henderson. Listen, I've been talking about Henderson for 3 years because I covered him when he was at Memphis. So I was high on him way back before he was producing the numbers that people would maybe say would back it up. And now, this is a guy. I mean, they brought in Cam Akers, and he's been banged up, but they bring in Cam, and Henderson's still there. Malcolm Brown tried to do some things, and Henderson's still there, and Malcolm Brown's in Miami now. So, Darrell Henderson, I'm telling you, this guy is going to take off. I believe in him, so keep him on your team and put him out there on your roster. And I agree. Like I said, Matt Stafford arguably could have his best year ever as a quarterback right now. Trey said he appreciates it. Thank you, Trey. We appreciate the question. If you have questions for us, instantaneously we answer them. Now, you can always come back and write them into the video, but right now we're on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt answering your questions live. Again, if you asked a question last week and we didn't get to it, there was some type of a glitch, and I don't know how to describe it. I could see the questions, but I could not respond to them after the fact. So we apologize to anybody who asked us questions. We'd be more than happy to answer your questions this week. And then on Facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. You have 3 places to ask us questions. You can also write directly to Wake Up Call on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call_DT. So plenty of places for you to ask questions and give your thoughts. If you have them, please send them to us. So with that being stated, Mike, let's jump into New England and the Jets. We're going to try and go through these a little bit quicker as we got a bunch of games to run through here. What do you got?
Yeah, this is a game, again, like the New England and Dolphins game. You can throw out the records. You can throw out the point spreads. Both the Patriots and the Jets are 0-1 coming into this thing, and with good cause. I mean, neither one of them are a solid team yet. I got Mac Jones at 26 for quarterback, Zach Wilson at 29. The only reason why Zach Wilson is 29 is he has nobody to throw the ball to. He's got a committee running back situation that is mired in muck. You can't start Tevin Coleman. Everybody's thinking Michael Carter is going to be the eventual guy to take that over. Ty Johnson's still making his way. I'm not like that as a coach. I don't do a committee situation. I'm going to pick my guy. I'm going to go with him. And if he runs out of gas or starts fumbling the ball, next man up. That's what the NFL is really about. So they're not doing that. Right now I got Tevin Coleman in the 40s, 43, Ty Johnson at 48, Michael Carter in the 50s. New England, I'm not sure that I can start any running back from New England either. I mean, the Jets have a pretty intimidating defensive front. They're slowing things down. I got Damian Harris at 32. He's their number one there. So I had better hopes for Ramondre Stevenson. But again, when I have those hopes for those rookie running backs, especially, you got to take your time. You got to take a breath. You got to take a step back. It takes time for these guys. And if they don't know how to pass block, they're not going to be on the field. So I'm looking at wide receivers, and nobody really excites me on either team. I mean, I'm rolling down my list here. I'm in the 50s. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Nelson Aguilar at 53. So if Nelson Aguilar is on your team, he's 53rd best wide receiver this week, according to my rankings. And I'm struggling. I got to go all the way down to like the 90s to find it. So don't start any of those guys if you can help it. And looking at the tight ends, similar situation, except I got Jonnu Smith at 14 for the tight ends. No real tight end I can count on from the Jets. They traded him away. Looking at this game, do I really have to pick a winner? If I do, I'm going to take New England.
Yeah, this is this is a different world now. I mean, like I said, Bill Belichick made things interesting against Miami, but this is a different New England. This is a New England that we could see struggle if Miami can. What did I say at the beginning of the year when we made our predictions? 1 through 4 finish in every division. I said Bills 1. I said Patriots 2 because it's Belichick, but I would not be surprised, and Miami's going to be close. Like, I would not be surprised if Miami took that, and then the Jets at the bottom. So Miami's got a shot. They definitely have a shot. They could be a playoff team this year in a wild card situation. So I'm just throwing that out there. New England, fantasy-wise, PPR, James White, Damian Harris, flex guys for me. I don't trust their receivers, so I'm not even going there. Mac Jones, no. So, not as a starter in fantasy. So I could just move forward here. With the Jets, Tevin Coleman, Ty Johnson, Michael Carter, who's the guy going to be? That's the question. Is there an answer? No. So, I mean, I like Michael Carter, and I think he's eventually going to be the guy. And he was trained by my guy DeAndre Smith when he was in Carolina. So, I'm not saying that he's, that I like him because of that connection. I'm just making that little note there. But I like Michael Carter. I've watched him play. I've watched Devontae Williams play. And so, I mean, for me, he's kind of like a grab and stash. And then that situation's wide open still. Corey Davis is a wide receiver 4. I really don't like this game in fantasy at all. This could be a field goal game. This could be 15-12. So, like I said, PPR, Damian Harris, James White. Outside of that, if I have to pick any Jet, Corey Davis, wide receiver 4. And I'm gonna pick the Patriots to win the game only because the Jets are the Jets. That's my reasoning. Let's move on. So, San Francisco at Philadelphia. San Fran outlasted the Lions, who they allowed to have a 23-3 run to end the game, where they were blowing them out, and then they only won by 8. Philadelphia blew out Atlanta on the road 32-6. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, well, you're only as good as the last game you played. You're only as good as the people you play against. You're only as good as what you've shown on film. What we saw on film in the second half was the Niners either letting off the gas pedal or getting exposed. And maybe they got exposed because Jared Goff was the quarterback and he's used to facing the Niners. You got to think about those little things. So I like the Niners, and against most teams, I'll pick the Niners. But here's another 1 o'clock East Coast game. Now, if they travel back and are going to make the circle back again, I'm sure that's what they did. I don't know for sure, but it would have made more sense to me to stay on the East Coast time to get more acclimated to that, because that is a real thing, going left coast to East Coast and then a 1 o'clock game. Both these teams 1-0 going in. The difference, though, is going to be on the field. Obviously, it's going to be in the players. And you could start at quarterback, and you got to wonder, well, how's Garoppolo doing? I mean, Lance came in and threw a touchdown pass. Threw one pass, it was a touchdown. The fans want to see that change at quarterback. They're not going to see that change anytime soon. You're going to see glimpses of it, but you're not going to see anything steady Eddie anytime soon. Jalen Hurts, I do like him. He's number 9 on my rankings this week. I think he does enough with his legs and his arm to warrant that. And looking at the running backs, this is where it starts to get a little tougher. Miles Sanders, 19. Look out for Kenneth Gainwell taking over Boston Scott for that second position behind Miles Sanders. But Miles Sanders ranked number 19 this week. And I have to go down a little further for Elijah Mitchell, who broke out last week. Trey Sermon, who was supposed to be the breakout guy, didn't even dress. He was inactive. So what happens? Raheem Mostert goes down with what is now a season-ending injury, knee surgery warranted. At first they said 6 to 8 weeks. He vied for a different option, and now he's out for the season. But they also have JaMychal Hasty in the group as well. So, again, a mired committee. But Elijah Mitchell looked like, if you're in a committee situation, this is what's supposed to happen. One guy's supposed to break away from the pack, and then that's your guy. So it looks like that's what they're going to do in San Fran. Looking at the receivers, the highest ranked receiver I have is Deebo Samuel at 19. I can't really go to Brandon Ayuk because I don't know his position. I'm not going to take a Trent Sheffield over some other guys that I have in the 40s. So, looking at receiver, there's no other real option on either side of the ball for me there. And then looking at the tight end position, obviously you got George Kittle. George Kittle, number 3 tight end this week. On the other side of the ball, I'd like to rank Goddard a little higher. I'd like to rank Ertz a little higher. Ertz is going to cut into some of Dallas Goddard's production. I got Dallas Goddard at number 11 this week. So there's a little bit of value in the tight ends, not so much in the receivers outside of Deebo Samuel. The line is San Fran minus 3.5. I'm going to go the other way with this. I'm going to go with the Eagles because I think the Niners look bad in the second half, and I think the Eagles never let off the gas in their game at Atlanta. I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Eagles as well in this matchup. I mean, San Fran allowing what they allowed at the end of the game to Detroit. I think Philadelphia is a better team. And if Detroit can go 23-3 to you to end the game, I think Philadelphia and Jalen Hurts are going to be able to put the hurt on you, pun completely intended, going into, for this game itself, San Fran at Philadelphia. On San Fran's side, the quarterback situation, again, I mean, if you're in our leagues, if you're in the wake-up call leagues, any one of those leagues in Central New York, down in Florida at Hooters, Central New York at the Wildcat, and the Marywood Alumni Leagues, we all have a team quarterbacks. So you get Garoppolo and Lance if you have San Fran. So that's a good situation. If it's individual, it's not. I think Deebo Samuel is not a bad bet for you as a wide receiver flex. I like George Kittle. I'm not sold on anybody in the running game. And I hope Raheem Mostert gets better. I've never been sold on him. I think Trey Sermon eventually takes over this year as a rookie out of Ohio State, and I wish the best on a speedy and full recovery for Raheem Mostert. On Philadelphia's side, I like Jalen Hurts in the game. Gainwell, I told you all about him. Another Memphis back. Hi. So, touchdown in his first ever game. Miles Sanders, running back 2. Kenneth Gainwell, running back 3. Jalen Hurts, I think, is worth starting. Devontae Smith, wide receiver 3. Dallas Goedert. I had, he's one of those, I would say low end 1, high end 2. And I got Philadelphia winning the matchup. As I said, Mike and I are going to go a little bit faster here because I want to make sure we get into everything. So we will give you our full analysis, but we're going to try and do it within our time constraints. Rendon did ask a question, Mike, so we're going to go here, and then we're going to go to Vegas Pitt. Trade offer, Melvin Gordon, DeAndre Swift, Deontay Johnson, he would trade away. He would get DK Metcalf and Antonio Gibson. Yes or no?
Yes.
There you go. Easy for Mike.
I like the upgrade, and even if you have to go pick up somebody else off the wire because you're going to have an extra bench spot, I'm sure we can help you with that as well, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say yes, too, because Melvin Gordon, I think, is going to be taken over from Javonte Williams. DeAndre Swift, question mark. Deontay Johnson, could be, could not be. DK is good. Antonio Gibson, another Memphis back. So, yes for me on that. Mark asked a question, Mitchell, Tyson, Claypool, or Chase for flex PPR. So, I guess he's asking Elijah Mitchell and Tyson Williams, Chris, and then I would say he's asking Claypool from Pittsburgh and Jamar Chase.
Yeah, no, I'd have to go with Elijah Mitchell. Even though I like Jamar Chase a little bit better on the rankings, I got Jamar Chase at 23 for receivers, but I think that Elijah Mitchell really stepped up. Now watch this, watch a committee situation, watch it be JaMychal Hasty this week, but that's a tough call right there between the two, between Jamar Chase and Elijah Mitchell. But I would lean toward the running back.
Yeah, Mike's going Elijah Mitchell. I'm going with Jamar Chase in this one. So out of that group, Chase is the one that I feel best about. So, I know it's a toss-up. We got you down to 2. We took out Tyson and Claypool. Mike's going Mitchell. I'm going Chase. I just like it better in a PPR situation. And again, he knows Burrow. Burrow knows him. So I like that. Elijah, I just don't like the backfield situation in San Fran right now. I think Trey Sermon will eventually take over. And so I would go with Jamar Chase. I think it's the safer bet. Mark said, thank you. You're welcome, sir. Next game, Mike, Vegas and the Steelers. What do you got?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Again, I know they're not totally left coast, but it's on the left coast, Vegas. So, 1 o'clock game, East Coast. Pittsburgh, I think they look pretty good in week 1. I think their defensive front is imposing. And Vegas, that's how they won that game, with their defensive front as well. So looking at the quarterback situation for both teams, how can you not like Ben Roethlisberger after all these years? He's not a QB1. I got him ranked 18, and I got Derek Carr ranked 20. But, still doing this, still chugging along at 158 years old. Looking at the running back situation, I got Najee Harris, the highest ranked running back in this game, at 14. Josh Jacobs is going to be 26. Looking at the receivers, all the Pittsburgh receivers are bunched together, much like the pre-draft data that we had. Deontay Johnson at 25, Juju Smith-Schuster at 29, and Chase Claypool at 31. That will keep Ben Roethlisberger very young, with those young guys running around catching the ball all over the place here. I can't really say the same for the Vegas Raiders. Hunter Renfrow may be your best option at 54. Brian Edwards at 65. I mean, Brian Edwards looked good in this game, and Zay Jones stepped in for Brian Edwards on a play or two and even scored a touchdown. But again, I can't start any of the Vegas Raiders receivers over somebody else. Darren Waller for Vegas, he's the premium tight end on the field, and I don't really feel the same way about Eric Ebron at 24, or even a Pat Vermouth, who has yet to get Pat Fryermuth. I said Vermouth. I need a cocktail. He's the guy that is going to end up taking over, being the guy, just not yet. As far as a winner in this game, I'm going to go for the Steelers at home.
Yeah, I'm picking the Steelers at home in this matchup as well. I think the Raiders did a really good job of how they took care of home field. Now, remember, they opened that giant spaceship in Vegas to nobody last year. Opening took forever on when they were actually going to officially leave Oakland. Again, it was like being an ex-boyfriend or an ex-girlfriend who breaks up with somebody and leaves, but leaves part of your stuff at the place and is sleeping on the couch sometimes. You go back to your ex and say, hey, I know I'm dating Sheila, but I got nowhere to sleep. Can I sleep on the couch? So that's what they were doing in Oakland for a long time. They were sleeping on the couch with that, knit blanket that the grandma made of the ex-girlfriend, and you're sleeping. It's just wrong on so many levels, but that's what was happening. And then Vegas finally got to open to actual fans, and they did it in the first game of the season on Monday Night Football, which was deservedly so because of what they had to go through in their opening, non-opening last year. And they got the win in overtime. So Derek Carr did some really good things, and I like that. I think he's a quarterback 2 this week. Low end 1, high end 2, but he showed you that he's talented. He definitely put that out there. Josh Jacobs, running back 2, and then I'm not really sold on the receivers. Darren Waller, start him at tight end. He's like a Mark Andrews, a set it and forget it. Travis Kelce as well. On the other side, for Pittsburgh, I'm not sold on their quarterback, Big Ben. He wasn't great. Remember, the defense got a touchdown of separation in that game. So, the special teams, I should say, they blocked the punt. Najee Harris, I would say, is a running back 2. Deontay Johnson, I like him more than Juju. Chase as a flex, Juju as a flex, Deontay as your 1 in Pittsburgh. I'd put him as somewhere of a mid-range 2 right now, but I'm going to pick Pittsburgh at home. Next game that we have up here, Mr. Sofka, we have New Orleans at Carolina. Can New Orleans bounce back, and can Sam Darnold stay undefeated?
Hey, you can't talk about New Orleans without acknowledging Jameis Winston. His 5 touchdowns, 0 INT performance. Great performance by him, but relax. It's been one game. Kind of like I said, with people jumping off bridges and dropping big players and everything, it's been one game. I subscribe to the law of averages. I subscribe to you are what you are. You are what your record says you are. His record on last starting consistency is 31-31. Oh, I threw 30 touchdowns. Not everybody can do. Yeah, you had to throw the ball because you threw 30 picks, and half of them were pick sixes. So relax on Jameis Winston. I do applaud him for last week. I'm not down on Jameis Winston. I'm just saying, just relax. He's number 27 on my ranking this week. Sam Darnold ranked number 30. The value's all in running back in this game. CMC, Christian McCaffrey, number 1 overall, deservingly so. And Alvin Kamara, deservingly so, at number 2. 1-2, that's the big punch in this game. That's the reason to tune into this game, is those 2 guys right there. And, when I go over to the receivers, I see that same value there. I'm not sure who's going to step up this week for New Orleans. Is it going to be Deontay Johnson on another big play? I know it's not going to be Michael Thomas. Is it going to be Marquez Callaway? I don't know which guy is going to step up. Right now I got Marquez Callaway, the higher of the 2, at 44. And on the other side of the ball, neither one of these guys are wowing me. I got Robbie Anderson at 41, and I have DJ Moore at 22. So DJ Moore, bottom end wide receiver 2 for you. And then going over to the tight ends, it's really hard for me to sign off on having one of these guys on the field for you. I don't know if I'm going to take any tight end from this game. Adam Troutman, maybe. I got him right at 26. So I'm going to end up taking New Orleans again on the road. They need to be on the road because everything in New Orleans is a mess with that other storm coming back through. But I'm going to take New Orleans going into Carolina and winning outright.
Yeah, I'm going to you're picking New Orleans going into Carolina and winning outright. This is a tough one for me. So Mike's going to go New Orleans. Jameis Winston, 5 touchdowns, no picks. Again, temper your expectations here. Let's just give it a minute. Take a... And let's see. Take a little breath. Did you take a breath? I hope you did. Alvin Kamara is worth the play. Tony Jones, if you have to go really deep in your league, and you got, your 14-team league or 16 or something like that, you got to play him as a flex. Callaway and Deontay Harris, we don't know. One of my favorite names in football, Lil Jordan Humphrey. I love that. I feel like it should be part of a nursery rhyme. And then Lil Jordan Humphrey. I don't know. Something about what is...
Be careful. You got to pronounce that right. It's not little. It's Lil.
Lil Jordan Humphrey. But I say it quick, so it sounds like Lil Jordan Humphrey. But I love it. But it's like Lil Jordan Humphrey eating his curds and whey. I don't know. I just feel it. So Marquez Callaway, Deontay Harris. You got to watch these guys. You do. You can't be, I'm going to start him. Oh my gosh, Deontay Harris had a touchdown. I gotta go pick him up. So Juwan Johnson too at tight end. So just watch. Maybe pick a guy up if you got a spot, or maybe you had Raheem Mostert and he left the space open because he's out. Something like that. But don't go crazy. Kamara's worth the play. Tony Jones is a low-key flex. Jameis Winston is worth the play in this because he's playing Carolina. On the other side of it, Sam Darnold, not as sold on him. Yeah, I like Sam Darnold in Carolina, and I like Sam Darnold, what he did. But let's just wait. Again, week 1. Christian McCaffrey, yes. Chuba Hubbard, not bad as a running back 4 for you. Robbie Anderson, I like more than DJ Moore right now. And, yeah, I love the relationship him and Sam Darnold have. So I like Robbie as a wide receiver 3 in this, and I'm not going to pick any of the tight ends for Carolina. I'm going to go with New Orleans, too. This was tough for me, though. I almost went Carolina because they're home, but I'm going to go in New Orleans. Mike, we got questions that came up. Rendon, I need to be more specific. You asked start 2, sit 1, and you put the same guy up there twice, so we need to get who the third guy is. And then you said somebody just dropped James White. Looking at my team, is he a must pick up? I don't think you should go crazy with your team, as Mike and I said before on that. Mark said to us, Jamar Chase or Antonio Brown, wide receiver 2 PPR.
Jamar Chase, not a down. Now, I do like Antonio Brown, maybe in a flex or a wide receiver 3 or 4 situation. I think Antonio Brown could end up competing for as many targets, if not more targets, than the top two wide receivers there, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. So, yeah, I like Antonio Brown, but I take Jamar Chase over him, especially this week.
Yeah, I'm going Jamar Chase as well. Rolando said, should I pick up Eli Mitchell for Damian Harris?
Dropping Damian Harris? No, you don't drop it. See, this is what other owners do. This is not what we do. Okay, other owners are those mistakes. He's a number one running back in New England, and Ramondre Stevenson, the only threat to this cat, goes out on the field and fumbles on his first play. You think Belichick's going to put that cat on the field that much longer? No, he's got to earn his way back on the field. He's got to start from the bottom rung again. So Damian Harris is the guy. Yes, I want you to pick up Elijah Mitchell, but no, I don't want you to drop Damian Harris to get him. It's not worth it.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing. Again, don't go crazy over 1 week wonders, okay? Everybody likes Chumbawamba. You what?
You want to go to your leagues. You want to go to your league page today and tomorrow, and you want to look at all the transactions because some of those other owners are going to make those impulsive moves. What you're going to do is you're going to sit back quietly and you're going to snatch up the goodies that they're throwing out with the trash.
Yeah, because people are going to make that. You know, some people love Chumbawamba's tum thumping, but they were a one-hit wonder. And just remember that. So remember the fact that you just got to wait here. And then Mark also asked us that he lost Gus and Mostert. He said, do I go? He said, and we got either Latavius Murray or Leonard Fournette for my running back 2 standard. I think it's Leonard Fournette without a doubt.
Yeah, but if you're telling me about Gus Edwards, that's preseason. You should have handled that preseason. So I don't need to hear a sob story about something that happened preseason. Sorry, I don't mean to come down on you. It's just it is what it is. We count the season from season 1. So hopefully you were able to pick up somebody else. Hopefully you were able to pick up Tysum or somebody. What was the choices again? Leonard Fournette and who?
Latavius Murray.
Yeah, I definitely go Leonard Fournette because of the Ronald Jones injury. And Latavius Murray's made some appearances on the field right now. And he's going to be taking over a lion's share of those carries. Don't get me wrong, in Baltimore. But right now it's Leonard Fournette, especially with the injury to Ronald Jones.
Yeah, and we got a question coming in from Rolando again. And I need to, Rolando, who would you be dropping is my question to you. Is who would you actually be dropping for this? So that's what I would like to know, because he said someone dropped Odell Beckham today. I think he got mad he didn't play. Should I pick him up or Brandon Cooks? I want to know who you'd be considering dropping. Mark said they drafted in the preseason, so that's why he had Gus. So obviously he made your move. So you made your move, Mark. Leonard Fournette over Latavius Murray without question. And so Rolando, just get back to us and let us know who you would be dropping to pick up Odell or Brandon Cooks, because again, somebody dropped Odell in week 1 because he got mad, right? Or whatever reason he did, but he dropped him. Mike just said, don't be that person. Don't be that man or that woman that's going to go, grab up the goodies, but don't be the one that's going to throw everything in the trash. So tell us who you'd be considering dropping, and then we'll give you a note here if you should drop anybody. Next one up, and I'm going to go with New Orleans, as I said. Denver at Jacksonville. Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, especially for the quarterback play. A lot of people go, huh? Because Teddy Bridgewater had a pretty good game last week. And against this shredded Jacksonville defense, I like the Jacksonville defense, but they didn't do well last week against Tyrod and a bunch of nobodies. It was like going to see a band, but only the lead singer shows up with the house band. The band didn't make the plane. And that's fine. But that's Tyrod Taylor won that game last week for them. So and that Jacksonville defense is not that bad. It's just they're playing that bad right now. So Teddy Bridgewater, number 15 on my rankings. Looking at Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence right behind him at 16. I don't think Trevor Lawrence played so bad. He did make some mistakes, did have 3 picks, but he did throw for 3 touchdowns and over 300 as well. And he's a rookie. That was his first game ever. That was his first regular season loss going all the way back through his football career. He had never lost a regular season game. He's lost playoff games in college, but he's never lost. So that's a new dynamic for him and Urban Meyer to lose games. They're not used to that, and that's a good thing to have. Looking at the running backs, Melvin Gordon, number 23, Javonte Williams is on his way. I wouldn't be surprised if in a week or two these guys are flipped. Javonte Williams is 35 on the rankings, and James Robinson 28. He's the sole guy that you really want. Maybe take Carlos Hyde if you have a deep bench in a big league, but other than that, he's the guy to have in Jacksonville. Looking at the wide receivers, nobody really jumps out at me outside of Laviska Shenault. You saw the concerted effort to get him the ball in many different ways. They're going to continue to do that. I do like DJ Chark as well. Laviska Shenault I have at 24. DJ Chark I have at 33. And looking on the receivers for Denver, Jerry Jeudy got dinged up and hurt. Cortland Sutton's yet to step up, but I do have him at 40, and I have Tim Patrick at 43, and then I'd go down to 59 before I hit KJ Hamler, but somebody's got to step up. My money's on Cortland Sutton now that Jerry Jeudy's down with the injury. Looking at the tight end position, I got Noah Fant at 10. I don't really have anybody for Jacksonville. Yeah, I know Manhurt's got the one reception for a touchdown, but that doesn't warrant a start or a ranking in my top 40 tight ends. So nobody for Jacksonville, just Noah Fant at 10. Looking at this game on paper, I would love to say Jacksonville's going to win this game. Again, another kind of West Coast team coming East Coast for the 1 o'clock game, but I got to go with Denver.
Yeah, and Mike going with Denver. I'm going to give my pick right after this. We got plenty of questions coming in. Answers coming to you right after this fast break. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Cafe Kubal studios. And this is the Fantasy Football Power Hour, proudly presented by the Wildcat Sports Pub. If you're in Central New York, you need to be there at the game, watching the games and all throughout the week on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York. And you can order for takeout or delivery at 315-487-2222. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. As a patient, what do we want? To be cared for, to be listened to, and to have someone walk us through the process on our path to victory. Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics does all of those things beautifully, with Dr. Mark Petropoli leading the team on 791 West Genesee Street in Skaneateles, New York, located minutes from beautiful Skaneateles Lake. Whatever your injury may be from head to toe, preventative care, rehab, physical therapy, laser therapy, and surgery are all available at Victory Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, where they care about us, they listen to us, and they understand that everyone's path to victory is a little bit different. Let them help you on yours by calling 315-685-7544 to make your appointment today. That's 315-685-7544. And find out more information at victorysportsmedicine.com. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Bunch of questions coming in here. I'm going to get to my Broncos, Jaguars. Mike went with the Broncos on the road. Teddy Bridgewater is a quarterback too, but don't be surprised if he put some work in on Jacksonville's defense. It did not look good. I like Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams both in this game. I think Javonte had 14 carries, Gordon had 11. Gordon had 10 carries for, just monitor this, folks. He had 10 carries for 31 yards. He had a 70-yard carry that put him over 100 at 101 yards. So people, oh my gosh, he had 11 carries, 101 yards. No, he had one carry for 70. So just watch that. Melvin Gordon had less carries than Javonte Williams, and Javonte Williams was playing his first ever NFL game. So I like Javonte, I like Melvin Gordon. They're both worth the play for you. I would have them both as running back twos as of right now. Melvin Gordon gets a slight edge to a lot of people out there, but I think Javonte is going to end up being the starter. Cortland Sutton in this matchup, Jerry Jeudy's down. Tim Patrick comes up. Tim Patrick, wide receiver 3. Cortland Sutton, a wide receiver 2. Noah Fant, tight ends, seem to have some good days in Jacksonville, so I'll put him as a low-end 1 in this. On Jacksonville's side of it, Trevor Lawrence is a quarterback 2 for you. James Robinson's worth the play. Carlos Hyde's worth a flex in a deep league especially. I like Laviska Shenault above all the wide receivers. I'd put Shenault as a 2. I put Marvin Jones as a 3. I put Chark as a low-end 2, high-end 3. And I'm not going to pick anybody at tight end. And I would like to pick Jacksonville too, Mike, but I got to go with Denver in this one. Waiver wire question. Who do we rank higher season-long one-point PPR? Jacoby Myers or Sterling Shepard?
Oh, wow. Could you find a more brutal matchup for us here? I think Jacoby Myers might be the default guy just because who else is there? Nobody else is stepping up. Maybe a Nelson Aguilar. But that's a very good question. Again, I'd be more interested in finding out who you're dropping, or unless you're putting a guy on IR or something, because who you're dropping may be better than those two guys.
Yeah, he said, Greg, longtime listener and supporter, and thank you, Greg. He said, not looking for a spot start next week, more of a long-term pickup. He's dropping Justin Jackson, the Chargers running back.
Yeah, again, whoa, break check here. Who takes over if Austin Eckler gets hurt? Justin Jackson. Has Austin Eckler been hurt in recent time? Yes, he has. So I'll always, if it's everything even Steven, if they're the same height, same weight, same production, same everything, and I'm playing the same, I'm taking the running back 9 times out of 10, even if it's PPR. So hold your jets. Don't overreact. Justin Jackson didn't make any plays. He didn't do anything else. Yeah, I know. It's one game. So I'd be interested to see who you're going to drop for that wide receiver, because I hate for you to go out of the frying pan and into the fire. And then if I'm another owner in that league, I see you drop Justin Jackson. I see him. He's out there on a waiver wire everywhere. Guess who's picking him up this week because guys got hurt? Guys that listen to me. So stick with the running back for right now.
Yeah, and I'm going to say that too. Let's not go crazy. Just give him a chance. Justin Jackson's a guy who's looking to catch on, looking to find his footing. Don't give up on him just yet. So I would say the same thing. Got a question from EJ. I have to start 2. Tyson Williams, Damian Harris, Devontae Smith, Elijah Mitchell. Also Rojo. So Ronald Jones, but not falling into... Okay. So we have... So start 2 between Tyson Williams, Damian Harris, Devontae Smith, and Elijah Mitchell. Who would you say?
Tyson Williams, Elijah Mitchell. I mean, it's pretty easy for me on that situation there. I mean, those guys that ran well this past week, and they're going to continue to run the ball well as long as, that committee situation in San Fran allows them to. Elijah Mitchell would be the guy, but he's got somebody over his shoulder that he's got to look after, and that's Trey Sermon, who's obviously going to dress this week. Jermichael Hasty, too. That guy's no slouch out of Baylor, undrafted, a couple years ago. So I would definitely stick with Elijah Mitchell for now. But just be prepared that, you may make a move later on as well.
Yeah, Mike, EJ Clee, thank you for your question. Mike saying Tyson Williams and Elijah Mitchell. I'm saying Tyson Williams and Devontae Smith. I want to know if it's PPR. I'm guessing that it is. If it is, I like the way Devontae Smith started out with Jalen Hurts. He is a weapon. Obviously, they both were at Alabama, so both know each other, familiar with each other. So I like Tyson Williams and Devontae Smith. Elijah Mitchell, I haven't for years liked the situation in San Fran. They've had 2 or 3 guys at a time, and I don't like the situation. So I'm going to say Tyson Williams because Lamar Jackson runs the ball, and he's, Damian Harris too in a PPR situation, but it's New England. And they pass. So I'm going to say Tyson and Devontae because I just like Tyson more on the ground in a rushing attack than a Damian Harris right now. And Elijah Mitchell, because I'm not sold on the San Francisco situation. But Tyson's, he's a toss-up too. The one I feel best about is Devontae. Damian Harris, like I said, PPR good, but he also has James White. How often do they run the ball? Tyson Williams has Lamar Jackson, and they're a running offense. So that's my thoughts for you, EJ. Minnesota at Arizona, Mike, what do you got?
Yeah, I definitely like Kyler Murray, number 2 quarterback for me on my rankings this week. The quarterback on the other side, of course, Mr. Knows the line himself, Kirk, number 22 this week. Looking at the running back situation, Dalvin Cook, he's the man. As long as he's healthy, he's top 5 guy. He's number 3 this week. And going over to the other side of the ball, I'm going to say Chase Edmonds is a guy that you hesitation, but I got him at number 18. James Conner, going to jump in a little bit there at 37 on my rankings. Looking at the wide receiver situation, you would think that Kyler Murray would have all these top receivers. He's got one real good receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. And then on the other side of the ball there, you got Adam Thielen. Number 17 on my rankings this week. And those are the top guys you really want to focus on, but the next level of guys is in the 60s and 70s. So I'm really not outside Justin Jefferson. I'm sorry. How did I miss him at number 8? Looking at the tight end position, Chris Herndon. He's not really anything for me on Minnesota side of the ball. Arizona side, same thing. So there's no real money there. Just for the better athletes on the field, not the better athlete, the better athletes with an S. I'm going to go with the Cardinals at home.
Yeah, and Michael, we did have, I want to go back to this for a second here. Greg asked us about Roundtree. He was saying he was dropping Jackson because Larry Roundtree, as of the last day or so, the notion is that he's going to have the backup role behind Austin Eckler. He's had 8 carries for 27 yards in the opening game in a win at Washington. That's what he's saying. He's dropping Jackson because Roundtree is going to be the number 2.
All right, well, maybe that's some information I would like to hear when I answer the question. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. It's just, yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you do that?
So
you know what I mean? My heart's still with Jackson between the two of them. If I had to choose between the two, I'd keep Jackson. But, I mean, that's a totally different thing than telling me you're going to pick up Larry Roundtree. That's telling me you have patience and you're looking for somebody that can sit on your bench for a little while longer. And if Austin Eckler gets injured, you either have Trey Bate or you'll have a guy that can step up. So, I mean,
I guess the clarification...
It's flipping a coin right now.
Yeah, I guess the clarification is, Greg, are you looking to drop Jackson for Roundtree, or are you looking to drop Jackson for Myers or Shepard because of Roundtree?
Correct.
That's what we're asking. So just send that in to us and let us know what your thoughts are. My take here: Mike's going Minnesota or Arizona at home. Arizona had a heck of a game against Tennessee, and wow. So I mean, I'm going to go with Arizona at home too in this matchup. Tennessee, I would like to think that's Minnesota. You will get to Tennessee in a bit, but I would like to think in Minnesota that, I mean, obviously they have some talented players here and some good things to be excited about, of course. But, for me, Arizona just came out striking, and for goodness sakes, the Union Endicott native Chandler Jones, 5 sacks, and he's 31 years old, which in the NFL to some is like 80. So I love it. I love what he's doing. He's like a fine wine. Chandler Jones, he's just timeless, and I love that. I hope he plays till he's 100 years old. I hope he wins another Super Bowl. So in this matchup, Kirk Cousins, not a big fan for him against Arizona. Delvin Cook, yes, worth the play. Adam Thielen, worth the play as well. Justin Jefferson didn't have a great show. He didn't get in the end zone. Thielen did, but I like them both still. Again, it's been 1 week, so I would play them both. Thielen and Jefferson as wide receiver 2s, I would say is safe. Jefferson maybe a 3. Maybe if you want to flex him out this week. Kyler Murray got me 60 points. I'm going with Kyler Murray, so I'm not even messing around with that. Chase Edmonds, running back 2. James Conner, more of a flex right now, but they've used them both, and they both got a good amount of carries, so I like to see that. DeAndre Hopkins, obviously you got to start him out there. A.J. Green, I'm not sold on anything happening with A.J. Green. Christian Kirk scored twice. He's playing for his job. I think he knows that. So Christian Kirk, another guy to grab and stash, but not somebody to go crazy about. They are playing Minnesota. I think Kirk could be a good flex for you, and that's what I'll say. And that's where I'm sitting at with that. I'm going to choose Arizona at home. Mike, we're going to go quick through these next couple. Make sure we don't lose time here. Falcons, Bucks, what do you got?
Yeah, I like the Falcons-Bucks game. I'm real interested in watching this. I'll go ahead and tell you the Bucks are going to win. They're going to win big. But looking at this situation on paper here, fantasy-wise, Tom Brady, number 5 quarterback on my rankings. Matt Ryan, not so much, number 19. Looking at the running back situation here, Leonard Fournette at 29. I got Mike Davis ranked above him at 21. Looking at the wide receivers, Calvin Ridley, best wide receiver on the field. He's ranked number 6. And then you got the trio from the Bucks at Goodwin at 14, Mike Evans at 20, and Antonio Brown at 26. And then Gronk making it into the top 10 at number 8. And I'll tell you why. There was a play late in the game where there were goal to go, and they ran off script. Gronk made the read on the guy in front of him, and Tom Brady read the same thing. Without saying a word, without even looking at each other, the ball was snapped. Tom Brady threw it to the spot, and Gronk was there. You can't substitute that. You can't coach that. That's years of playing together and reading what the defense is giving you. A lot of people think, oh, that was a great play. That wasn't a play. That was backyard ball making an adjustment on the fly. So hats off to Tom Brady and Gronk. That earns Gronk a top eight this week, and I like Tampa to win big at home.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Tampa to win in this game as well. I'm not. I know that the defense is going to be there. Josh Rosen on another team. He's backing up Matt Ryan in Atlanta, just to let you know that. Mike Davis, I would say he's a running back 3 because he's playing Tampa's defense in this one. Calvin Ridley worth the play, and Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, tight end 1 still. Calvin Ridley there for you. Russell Gage, a flex, but I think he might have a quiet week. I really like Ridley and Pitts and Mike Davis as a lower-end running back. And really the value to me is on Tampa. That's who I'm picking, like I said, to win. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this one. Tom Brady worth the play. Mike Evans worth the play. Chris Godwin worth the play. Gronk showing. I said Gronk had his best time at the end of the season in the real playoffs when the fantasy playoffs were over. And you didn't get anything for that. Well, now you can. So now you got him. Play him. Leonard Fournette, I like him too out there. And I'm going to go with, Brady and Gronk and the team going 2-0. And not needing the refs' help in this one necessarily. So I'm going to go with that. Next one up, Mike, Dallas at Chargers. What do you got?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game to watch as well. I'm interested to see if Justin Herbert can do it again, this time in his own backyard. Dallas on the road. Dallas travels well, though. Looking at the quarterback situation here, I like Dak Prescott a lot. I think Dak Prescott's a great quarterback. I'm not sold that he himself can do what needs to be done to win some games here. But I'm going to take Dak Prescott at number 7 this week. And the Chargers quarterback, not so much. He's still young. I think teams are figuring out how to play against him. I got him real close to Dak at number 8. But that gap is larger than it seems, just going from 7 to 8. I think there's a bigger drop-off there. Not taking away from what Herbert did last week. It's just I don't know if he's going to have this last year the same success all year. Austin Eckler's the guy. Number 5, he's the best athlete, the best fantasy play on the field. Number 5 on the rankings. Zeke, slow to get out the box, 15 on the rankings this week. Looking at the wide receivers here, there was a wide receiver went down. Michael Gallup went down. Cedric Wilson stepped up real big. That's a deep name to store right down to see if he can keep it up this coming week here. As far as the other receivers that are going to be on the field, I like Keenan Allen a lot. He's number 9 on the rankings. And then I got to go way down on the list before I find Mike Williams at 36. Let's see if I see Amari Cooper. Yeah, there's Amari Cooper, number 5 on the rankings this week. CeeDee Lamb, number 10 on the rankings this week. So, again, Cedric Wilson is that name you want to tuck away as that third receiver. And then looking at the tight ends, I don't see a ton of value on the board here for tight ends. Jared Cook at 154 years old, number 12 on my rankings. I yet to see something more from Jarwin or Schultz. I've got Schultz ranked a little higher at this moment at 20. So I'm going to take the Chargers to win in another slugfest.
Yeah, and we've hit the 5-minute mark here, so we'll go speed round here. I'll make these ones quick for you. Dak Prescott worth the play in it. Zeke Elliott, running back 2, like Saquon for me. I don't care what his name is. He's not producing. Tony Pollard is a low-key flex if you have to go there. I just like saying low-key flex. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb worth the play. Dalton Schultz, a tight end 2. Jared Cook, a tight end 2. Austin Eckler worth the play as well. And Herbert is a quarterback 2. I'd play Dak over him. I'm gonna, because it's the West Coast, I'm gonna say the Chargers, but I want to say the Cowboys, but I'm gonna say the Chargers in this one. Next one up, Mike. Just a couple to go. Tennessee at Seattle. What do you got?
I'm going to take Seattle for the win here at home. I think Seattle's deserving of a win at home, especially when they got Russell Wilson at quarterback. Russell Wilson is number 6 on my rankings this week. I got to go to the other side of the ball here. Tannehill 14. And looking at the running backs, Derrick Henry, disappointment a little bit in week 1, number 8 on the rankings this week. And on the Seahawks, Chris Carson's actually ranked higher than him at number 4. Looking at the receivers, there's a good receiver. There's a good receiver in Seattle called DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They're ranked 12th and 15 respectively. And for the Titans, I got A.J. Brown, of course. He's number 7 on the rankings. No real tight end threat on either side. Again, I'm taking Seattle for the win at home.
Yeah, I got to take Seattle for this one as well. Mike and I think have gone snake eyes through this whole thing. We have not, and we don't know who we're going to pick before, which is we've gone totally equal this whole way through. Tennessee, obviously you have to play Derrick Henry. I don't have to tell you, but I'm going to tell you to play Derrick Henry. Ryan Tannehill, I'd wait on him this week. I like Derrick Henry. I like A.J. Brown. Julio Jones, wide receiver 3 for you. On the other side of it, in this matchup, as you take a look at the Seahawks, obviously DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, both came to play, both got involved. Lockett with 2 touchdowns, Metcalf with 1 to start it off. Chris Carson worth the play, and Russ the Bus. So I like it. And Gerald Everett got one now that he's in Seattle, but I'd still temper on him a little bit and would focus on the other guys. So I'm going to go with Seattle at home with the 12th man. Sunday Night Football, KC Baltimore. What do you got?
Yeah, how can you not like this game? I like this game a lot. I thought Baltimore should have won last week. I thought the Chiefs should have lost last week. So this is going to be something else. Pat Mahomes, of course, number one quarterback in all of football right now. He's number one on the draft on my rankings this week. Lamar Jackson, number 4. Looking at the running backs here, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 13 on my rankings here, and Tyson Williams, number 30 on the rankings. Looking at the wide receivers, well, I'll tell you what, it's easy for the Ravens because I'm not playing anybody. The only wide receiver I see value on the field that I can count on week in, week out is Tyreek Hill. He's number 1 this week, and Travis Kelce, the tight end at a KC. And on the other side of the ball, you got to play Mark Andrews, number 5 on the rankings. I'm going to take, who did I say? You know what? I'm going to take the Ravens at home.
Oh, you're going to say the Chiefs at home, you mean?
No, the Ravens are the home team.
Okay, wait, let me see this again. Let me just make sure here. And so, I'm sorry. You're going to take the Ravens at home in this one. Okay, I flipped it. So Mike's going to take the Ravens at home. I am going to Kansas City. Obviously, Pat Mahomes got to play Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Play them all in this one. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I would say he's running back 2 in this situation. On Baltimore's side of it, Lamar Jackson, you got to play him. Tyson Williams, we talked about him throughout this morning and answered a bunch of questions about him. So I would look to play him in a running back 2 situation. Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews worth the play. I'm going to go Kansas City on the road. This is the first one that Mike and I went against each other on. Mike, last one, final minute. What do you got? We have Detroit, Green Bay.
Yeah, you can't start Jared Goff. You're going to go with Aaron Rodgers. He's going to have a better game. He's number 6 on my rankings. Looking at the running backs quickly here, Aaron Jones, he's going to have a better week. He's number 10 on my rankings. And DeAndre Swift is number 15 on the rankings. Looking at the receivers, Devontae Adams, number 2. I can't really count on a guy from Detroit. And I'm not really counting on too many guys from the tight end position outside Robert Tonyan at 13 for Green Bay. I'm going to take the pack at home.
Yeah, I'm going to take the pack at home in this one as well. I'm going to have to go with them in this matchup. And ultimately, for you, just a couple seconds left. Check us back at Wake Up Call tomorrow morning on MixLR. We appreciate you so much. And for those of you that are hanging out with us here on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, Facebook.com/WakeUpCallDT, and on YouTube.com/WakeUpCallDT, thank you so much for tuning in to the broadcast. We appreciate you for that. Talking about this game as well. Mike getting his picks in MixLR. You're not going to hear mine, but we'll be able to get them on YouTube and Facebook. And to let you know my take on Detroit at Green Bay. So I went with Kansas City on the road. Mike and I have chosen the same team every single game except for Sunday Night Football. So we'll have to circle that one and see what happens there, all in good fun. But Green Bay at the Lions, I got to go, or Lions at Green Bay, pardon me. I'm going to have to go with Green Bay like I was saying. On Detroit's side of it, DeAndre Swift is a running back 2. In this matchup, TJ Hawkinson, a low-end 1, high-end tight end 2. I don't like anybody else. I got to think Aaron Rodgers is going to bounce back. I got Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, Lazard as a wide receiver 3 or flex, Randall Cobb as a flex, Robert Tonyan as a high-end tight end 2, and like I said, I'm going with the Packers. So that is our take on it every single game, and we're very excited about it. Mike, I think the safest thing for us to do, since an hour, as we've proven throughout the years, is not enough, and we typically go 2, that we start this thing more closer to 9:30, so maybe we can start early and make sure we get everything in. We answered all your questions. We didn't miss a single question, so thank you for that. Questions on Facebook and YouTube. So, Mike, what do you think? Next week, start a little bit earlier?
Yeah, whatever we need to do. 9:30 is good.
Yeah, because we need to, I want to make sure we get to everything here. Don't run out of time on anybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Fantasy Football Power Hour, brought to you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora's wakeupcalldt.com, mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/livenowdt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. It's past noon, so under promise, over deliver, folks. And, of course, you could find the shows after you watch and listen. You can see them in the archives and hear them in the archives on Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, TuneIn, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Podbean, and more by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or Wake Up Call DT. Mr. Sofka, as always, thank you. Winning Fantasy Football on YouTube, Hall of Fame FantasyFootball.com, as well as our Winning Fantasy Football group on Facebook that you can join for free. I appreciate it very much, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Sounds great, Dan. We'll speak with you next week.
All right, take care. So that coming from Mike Sofka, and of course, in hour number 1, we premiered our first ever Dolphin Dive, and I got to feature for the first time ever the Dolphin Dive inaugural episode here for you with Bryant Perdomo. The second time Bryant's been on the show. The first time he's been on the show as a Dolphin. He was on the show as a North Star 3 years ago when I did a show with CNS's soccer team on site at Chick-fil-A Cicero. So a big shout out to him for that and for being a part of it. And Mike and I once again here both going with the Packers at home. So want to make sure that I set this up here for you and let you know exactly what's going on. And so we're picking the Packers at home, and Mike and I only went against each other on Sunday Night Football. And again, we don't know who we're picking ahead of time in the sense of we don't tell each other. So we don't say like, oh, okay, we're going to go here, we're going to go there. No, we don't talk about it. So the fact that 15 out of 16 games we picked the same is interesting. So either Mike and I are going to be really right or horribly wrong, and then we have that one game of separation. So we'll see what happens there in the Chiefs-Ravens Sunday Night Football. Both going with the Packers on Monday night over Detroit. And I want to thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Bryant Perdomo and to the Lemoyne College Dolphins. And so happy to finally bring you our first edition of Dolphin Dive. And I already have our next guest ready to go, and I'll be announcing that on social media. And, of course, a big thanks to Mike for the Fantasy Football Power Hour. Thank you for all of your questions today. Gosh darn it, this was incredible. I had a lot of fun. So keep sending your questions in. Send them to the feed, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, facebook.com/wakeupcalldt. You can also write to me on Facebook at wakeupcalldt, Twitter at calldt, and Instagram at wakeupcall_DT. And, of course, wakeupcalldt.com. You can subscribe and always be with us and write into youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. So plenty of ways to write in and be a part of the show. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to Bryant Perdomo. Thank you to Mike Sofka. Thank you to you. And as always, God bless. No stress. Do your best. Shout out to all of our amazing partners in the community, and I'll talk with you soon.